Welcome to Learning to Glow, a show about wellness, skin health, and self-development. I'm your host, Jess. I'm a mom, entrepreneur, and skincare expert. I'm so excited to share tips on how to achieve healthy skin and bring amazing guests in the field of health, fitness, aging gracefully, and personal growth. Let's explore all different ways we can take care of ourselves as women, both inside and out, to truly shine. So let's get glowing. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Learning to Glow podcast. I'm your host, Jess, and it's just me today for a solo episode. And I wanted to talk about something that I've been doing for the past several months. I wanted to share it with you. I didn't want to share it right away because I felt like I wanted to give it a chance and really try it out before I shared what my thoughts were. It is about my morning routine. It's something that I started towards the end of last year, 2023. A few years ago, I was listening to a podcast. The guest was Elrods, who is the author of the Miracle Morning book and community. He was talking about how he wakes up at 5 a.m. and does this long morning routine. And he kind of talked about what it was. And at the time I was like, you know what? I don't want to do that. Like, I was healing from different health issues that I had going on, and really my biggest focus was sleep. And I just was like, there's no way I want to even attempt this right now at this time in my life. But I liked what he had to say, and I thought he was really inspirational and he has such a great story. So I went and followed his podcast, and it is called Achieve Your Goals podcast by Elrods. So I've been listening to him for a little bit, and finally, it was like towards the end of last year, 2023, I decided that I wanted to have a more structured morning routine. Like, I wanted to wake up and start my day on the right foot. And I decided to read The Miracle Morning, which I hadn't read yet. I've sort of struggled when it comes to waking up early forever, and it just does not come natural to me. But in the last few years, it's been more of a priority to me, and going to bed early has been a priority so that I can wake up. And there's a few different reasons why I want to wake up early. And one of them is I have young kids, and they're not too young anymore, but they are, young children who are needy at times. And I want to have some time to myself, and I want to do that before everybody else wakes up. So that was one of my biggest motivations. And also, I like to work out first thing, because if certain time goes by, it's just not going to happen. I have to get it done in the morning, and exercise is really important to me. So that's something that I like to do in the morning before the kids get up, preferably, or I'll go to the gym or something. So I decided that after reading this book that I wanted to start implementing the Miracle Morning into my life. I really love the book. It's great. And the idea of it is that you wake up early. I think Elrods says he wakes up around 5 o'clock, and you start a series of mind and body rituals to start your day. So in this episode, what I want to do is talk about what the Miracle Morning is, and then kind of my interpretation of it, because you can do it in a lot of different ways that, serve you. And I'm going to talk about the ways that I have implemented it and how it's benefited me. I think that it's important to say that I think sleep is really important. So if you're struggling with sleep and you don't want to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, don't do that, because I do think that a lot of times we need to get our sleep. But the cool thing about this book is that you can kind of adjust it to what your life looks like and still get some value out of it. So you can start whatever time works for you. It can be as long as you want or as short as you like. I'll get into that in a little bit. But you can modify the plan, and it's flexible. And at first I didn't. It took me a while to get my groove on with this, because I was very by nature, I'm a rule follower, and I'm like, okay, I have to do this and I have to do this. And then I heard one of his podcast episodes with a guest that had been doing the Miracle Morning. She's like, well, some days I don't have time for all of them, so I just do what serves me that day. And I was like, okay, great. There's some flexibility there. The main idea of this concept is to really start your day off on the right foot, and also to devote some time to your personal development. and I find it really helpful. So the Miracle Morning is comprised of 6 different steps, and he calls them the S.A.V.E.R.S. Each letter of the S.A.V.E.R. stands for something that you do. And what I'm going to do in this episode is just walk through each of the steps, what it is, and how I've been doing it. And then we can talk about what benefits I've seen from it. The S.A.V.E.R.S stand for silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, read, and scribe, which is just writing. There's a reason behind each and every S.A.V.E.R, and combined, it's a really powerful way to help you focus on your goals, have a smoother morning, and really a smoother life. These steps are here to get you in touch with your intuition, give you peace and clarity, and they're things that many people recommend. You know, it's just all piled in together that make it what he says makes it so effective is by getting all of these things in every single morning is going to really help your life. So I'll start with what each S.A.V.E.R is. The first one is for silence, and that can be interpreted as meditation, but I've also heard other people do their own take on it. I usually do my app, my meditation app, which is the Insight Timer. And I do about 5 minutes of silence, or I do a guided meditation sometimes. I could do more time, yes, but meditation is a challenge for me. So I feel like 5 minutes is great. When I feel like I have more time, or if I want to do something longer, I can. But like a basic weekday, I just do about 5 minutes. But the funny thing is, even just 5 minutes, I see a difference with how it makes me feel. Most of the time I do focus on my breath. I do some breath work. And also, side note, I just took my first Reiki training, and I'm going to talk more about that. I'm actually having my Reiki teacher come on the podcast, and Reiki is energy work, and it's something that I need to practice because I do it on myself. It's self-Reiki. So I've been using my silence portion of the Miracle Morning and to practice my Reiki practice. So, and it's funny because the other day I had a headache and I did self-Reiki on myself, and my headache was like so much better afterwards, which was just crazy to me. I'll be talking more about it later because this is kind of a new thing I'm doing, but I'm excited about it. So step 2 is affirmations. And by the way, you can go in any order that you want. I change things up almost every day. Sometimes I start with affirmations. Sometimes I start with exercise. It just completely depends on what I'm feeling that day. But affirmations are statements that you say to yourself. They are I am statements, those that help get into your brain so that you're conscious of them, things that you want to be thinking. So they are sentences of things you want to believe. Maybe it's something that you're struggling with. For example, if you're feeling bad about yourself and you want to turn that around, you can use an affirmation for that. I have a list of affirmations in my journal that I use for my Miracle Morning, and I just have that on like page 1, and I read that out loud for this step number 2. And one of the examples I want to share with you is I actually got this from a friend, my friend Victoria. I was having to drive in a storm and I was really nervous about it. And we were talking back and forth about it. And she gave me the sentence, I am safe, and which is an affirmation. And I actually use that a lot now because I have anxiety, and at times it comes on strong. And so I use it and it really helps me feel better. So I love that one. You can get creative with this, and there's more examples in the book, or you can Google them if you're like stuck, if you've never used affirmations before, but people swear by them. They are very powerful. Step 3 is visualization. And I used to not pay much attention to this one before the Miracle Morning, and now I feel like it's one of the best ones. One of my favorite S.A.V.E.R.S that we do. Hal Elrod had a guest on his show, on his podcast, and it was the author of the book Level Up. His name is Rob Dial, and he gave such a great example about how he uses visualization, because this is another one where if you're not used to doing affirmations and visualizations and all these things, it could be a little confusing as to where to start or how to do it, or if you're even doing it right. So I loved this example. he was talking about moving to Italy. And so what he did for his visualization practice was he would Google the images of the neighborhood in Italy he wanted to move to, like the exact neighborhood. And then he Googled the images of like the local coffee shop. And he would sit and do his visualization practice with those images fresh in his head. And he would drink coffee and he would do his visualization. So it wasn't like vague. It was very specific what he wanted and what his goal was. And he says 6 months later, he was in Italy. And it's funny because visualization, I've used it in a more basic way, and I would say like more immediate way. Like I want to have a good day, or if I'm practicing before I'm going to do an interview, or if there's something going on in my day that I want to make sure it goes smoothly, this is where you can use visualization. And I really love this part of the Miracle Morning, and it's something that I've never really done before. But the more books I've read about, how people who want the goals that they want in life to succeed, like a lot of people use this practice. So I think it's really nice. And, you can just keep it simple by visualizing the day you're about to have or the way that you want to have an interaction or something. So that's sort of how I do visualization. And the next step is exercise, which is very obvious and easy. Depending on my morning, depends on when in the routine I do the exercise and how early I'm getting up that day. So I like to finish with this one because then like my morning routine is complete. That doesn't always happen, but starting my day with exercise, helps my mood and my productivity. We could talk about the benefits of exercise forever. It's just a really important thing to do to be healthy in general, but it's really great for your mood. And a lot of people feel more creative afterwards, like before they go to work. So it's a really great thing to add into your morning routine if you can. And this one, this could be a quick step too. It doesn't need to be an hour. It could be 20 jumping jacks or a quick walk. So whatever you decide, whatever you have time for, and whatever is right for you. Number 5 is read. This is a step that is on my goal list for 2024, to read more. And I'm talking about nonfiction here because fiction is much easier for me to read, and it's hard to put a good book down. Nonfiction can be more tricky. It's hard at the end of the day when I read at night when I'm trying to read a nonfiction book. But in the morning, like when I'm more fresh, it's a great time. I'm trying to read about 10 pages a day, and having this in like my morning routine is something that's so new. I've never woken up and read. So I'm getting so much reading in. I've already read a few books this month, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm actually having time to do this when I complain that I never have time to read. So you have to send me, if you guys have any great nonfiction books, send them my way because I'm going through books a little bit faster than I used to. This is something that helps with your self-development. If you are having goals and you want to work on your personal development, getting some great nonfiction is amazing. Really, he doesn't say you can't read fiction, but what I'm doing for this step is nonfiction. And my brain's more fresh in the morning time. So that's a great time for me to get that in. So number 6 is Scribe, which is just writing. I was the least excited about this step, to be honest, because that was not something I ever did, but ending up really enjoying this step in the process. Sometimes it's super quick. I jot down like 3 things I'm grateful for. Sometimes I journal longer. This is what happened. This is what I want to happen. And sometimes I write down more affirmations, which is great for the affirmation step. It doesn't take that long. And I really look forward to this now, which is so funny because when I first started this, I was like, I don't think I'm super into the writing part, but it's great. So speaking of taking a long time, you might be wondering how long this takes and thinking, who has time for this? It just totally depends on you. In the book, he even talks about doing a 6-minute miracle morning. So it can be done quick. I do what I can depending on the day. Some days when I go to the gym really early, I don't get up even earlier to do my morning routine first. I try to do it after. If I don't have time to do the whole thing, I just do some of the ones that I really want to do. But if I'm not working out and going to the gym and I'm working out at home, then I usually take between 30 and 45 minutes to work out. And then I'll do like the rest of the S.A.V.E.R.S for like 15 minutes. That's a good day. I feel like if I can do 45 minutes to an hour on my morning routine, including my exercise, I feel like that's really doable. And on the weekend, I try to spend a little bit more time and I'll read more, or I'll try to get in more exercise or whatever it might be when I don't have to be rushing, around on the weekdays. So it just depends. And it really took me a while to kind of figure out what I wanted to do and what the time was going to be and what was okay. What do I need the most? So I feel like I've got it down, but it took me a little while to kind of go through that process. And also there are days where I'm like, you know what? I'm not setting an alarm to go get up and do my morning routine because I'm tired or I'm sick or whatever it might be. So it does fluctuate from day to day, but I can say like, what are my results? Okay. So my days run smoother when I do this. When I don't have time to do it, I don't feel like I'm going into my day as grounded, as calm, and it's noticeable for me now because I know the difference of when I have taken the time to do it. When I get some time to myself before the house is up and I'm able to focus on these tools that the S.A.V.E.R.S are, I just feel better. It's not been too long of this morning routine for me. I mean, it's been several months, but honestly, I'm loving it. And I also really value that sleep, like I said. So if I go to bed too late, I'm not going to wake up as early, but I find that I really want to do it. Like I really want to get up and do this because of the way it makes me feel. So I am prioritizing like an earlier bedtime so that I can do this. And I get annoyed when I have to stay up late because it's like I'll miss out on this time to work on myself, to be alone, have some quiet time, all of those good things. This is just a brief explanation of the Miracle Morning, my take on it, but I would encourage you, if any of this sounds interesting, to go and check out the book. It's a really easy read, super interesting, and there's reason and science behind a lot of the S.A.V.E.R.S, and it's better than I'm explaining it here. The reason why they're included in the morning rituals that Hal Elrod came up with. So there's real good reason why we should be doing these things every morning for just feeling better and being more productive. He's so inspiring and he's very motivating. So if you like podcasts, which you do if you're listening to this, check out his podcast as well. Again, it's Achieve Your Goals podcast with Hal Elrod. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Let me know, have you heard of this before? I've asked several people like in the last few months, have you heard of the Miracle Morning? Have you read the book? And no one had. I am just curious if you've heard about it, if you've done it, let me know. Send me a message on Instagram, and let me know if you'd try it or maybe a part of it. I know some people don't like to wake up early, but then there's other people who are like, no, I want to get up and I want to do some alone time, and adding some of these things into your morning routine. It's made a big difference for me. So I'd love to hear your feedback. You can always send me a message. You can always leave a review and tell me there. That would be amazing. Share your thoughts with me, and then share this episode with someone that you know in your life who loves working on personal development or has some big goals, because these tools are really incredible for that. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you on the next episode. Have a great day. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Please subscribe and review so we can reach more people who want to learn to glow alongside us. See you next time.